Kia ora. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So, while I'm waiting for the kettle to boil, I've been doing some research because one of the things that is really, really important to me when I build my foundation is I want to support Indigenous culture. So I thought I'll have a look and see about Switzerland's Indigenous culture. They don't really have Indigenous people. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to. Well, there's two things that I can do is I can go to and support surrounding countries, indigenous people. When you look at Europe and that, we've got like all the Scandinavian kind of cultures, and then we've got like the Eastern European indigenous people, and that I can support the indigenous people in the surrounding countries. But also, as well, with the United Nations being there, they have a lot of Indigenous conferences where, like, First Nations people come from, like America and that. So I could try reaching out to people there. But anyway, when I was doing research, it's the Celts and the Gauls. The Celts became the Gauls are the Celts. All up in that region, and reading the stuff that, like, the wars they got into and the fights they had and being subjugated by Rome, and that you just know that the Callahans were in there. I think if I searched hard enough, I'd find my ancestors were all up in that Swiss stuff going on, because we were Spanish and Spain's not that far. And the Vikings came down and bred with my lot, and then we went to Ireland, and we became the Celts in that. But remember when I was doing my thing about who I think the Nephilim really are, and I was talking about the Celts and Gauls then, I know the Callahans will have been all up in that. There's bound to be Callahan stuff all around Switzerland. The great thing about Switzerland as well is that where it's situated, like, you've got Austria and Liechtenstein, and all I kept thinking was, when I was looking at all the surrounding countries, was the potentials for filming locations. For when I make, like my horror movies, and I mean, like, even just filming The Rise of the Dragon Queen, there's so many areas around there that would just, if you think of the Labyrinth and all of that, because I want to do it in the style of the Labyrinth, but it's a little bit kind of darker and, sort of dark crystally sort of thing. It's like the potential for filming locations, and then because as well, it gives the kids the opportunity to see the world a little. But because I need to go looking for talent, so the boys and I had talked about hitting the road once we found where we were going, and having like our version of, like Pop Ida's Got the Talent Factor, where we would advertise online, and I'd go around all the local radio stations and all that, and say to people, if you've got kids with talent, if they're writers, actors, musicians, whatever, these are where we're going to be holding the auditions, and then hold auditions, because the only way I'm going to be able to find these kids is have scouts looking out for talent on social media, people in the area who know a kid, and then the only way they're going to know that I'm looking for talent to put in my school is by advertising it. So I'll have to go around all the radio stations and say, hey, look, I'm building this creative arts school, and we're going to make movies and video games and put on performances, and I'm looking for actors and singers and, all of that, and then do our version of Popeye has Got the Talent Factor, where the boys and I will have to head out in camper vans and stay in hotels and drive around in vans, and, they can do what they want. But my son Thomas said that he would be a judge, because the thing is, he's my writing partner. He was my writing partner, so like me, because he is a writer, he's very, very creative. Gabriel is too, but Thomas is an actual writer. Like, he's written stories, and he writes out. He was helping me with my D&D game and my role playing storylines and all that sort of thing. So like me, I know that because we've discussed it, that any character he's created in our stories and our video games, they're like your babies, they're like your children. And when you create them, not only do you create stories in that, but you create personalities. You kind of know what their voices are going to sound like. And to cast the wrong person in that role would be quite would be quite irritating as the creator of them, as the god of these characters. So we will be going around, and it's like I've been looking on the map and I'm like, oh my God, we can look for these kids in France, Germany, Switzerland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark. The world, it's like it's right there. It's like Switzerland is in the perfect position to get in our tour bus with our camera crew and go around doing the whole radio junket and morning TV and that, and explaining who I am and what I've created and why we need to get these kids, and making it clear that I don't want kids that are already on tours. I don't want kids that are already signed up to talent agencies. I don't want kids that are already in like creative schools and that. I want the kids that nobody knows about, where they've got maybe 100 followers on social media, but they're so bloody good at what they do. Or these are kids that live in poverty or inner cities, or they're in juvie and that, but they just need an opportunity, but they're really good at what they do. I will take a kid who plays incredible drums from a poor village in Spain over somebody who has 100 million followers on TikTok, who plays actual drums. I'd rather have a kid that plays drums on pots, who's really good at what he does. That's who I'm looking for. The kid in remote parts of China and Siberia who have incredible operatic singing voices, or they can play the guitar, or they're incredible writers or artists, or the kid with autism that lives in trailer park wherever, who makes the most incredible clothes but just needs someone to guide them. There's this boy on, I've seen him on YouTube, and he sews. And he was getting bullied because he's a boy who sews, but he loves to sew. And the video I saw, he'd made a shirt for his dad, and his parents were so supportive of him. But this kid gets bullied because he's a boy, but he loves to sew. He's exactly what I'm looking for. The kids that deserve to be known, whether that they're too poor, they're about to go to juvie, they're coming out of juvie, they're locked up, whatever, inner city, poverty, isolation, the social outcast, the bullied, the one that's always in therapy because they're a bit weird. I want the freaks, the geeks, the nerds, the dorks, and the weirdos. I want the ones that nobody knows about, and the only way I'm going to find them is if I get in a van and drive around and advertise and go looking for them. So we will put advertisements up on our social media. We'll put ads up in the newspaper. I will do radio because I'll need an assistant anyway. She's going to have to make appointments and have me going, on radio. And if I have to do morning TV, I'll do blimmer morning TV as well, even though I'm dreading it. Oh, I'm dreading it, but I will, because this means a lot to me. And just looking at the map, it's like I can't see too many underprivileged kids coming from Monaco or Liechtenstein, but I mean, if they got the talent and nobody knows about it, why not? I don't care where I get them from. No country is going to be exclusive to me, but I want the kids that nobody knows about, the ones that deserve to be the star in my universe. And I'm more than happy to bring on people who are well known in the field of their industry, as long as they know that this isn't about them, that they're there to be mentors, big brothers and sisters, to show the kids the ropes. Even if it's like, they're there to produce the albums and the music for our musicals, and they're in the recording studio as the producer of the album, and they're teaching the kids how to work all the equipment and that sort of thing. Kids, mentors that can teach my sons who are into like editing and all of that, teach them. That's their schoolwork. But yeah, so Thomas and I will look for judges. We'll look for other people who, are good at judging talent and that, and we'll get in our little tour van and we'll drive around Europe and we'll look for these kids. I'll go as far as Russia. I'll go as far as bloody Iceland. Because then it's a great way for me to find the Indigenous people to help as well. And then I can look at like their wares, their art, their music, their jewellery, their clothing, their food, their arts and crafts and that I can put in my gallery and, sell their music in my music store. And supporting Indigenous artists is really important to me out of all of this, because I was persecuted, I was prosecuted and tortured for being an Indigenous woman that the Europeans didn't understand, and it's important for me when I get this money to use it to give back to other Indigenous people. So, yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait, because the thing is, it gives me something to do while the school's being built. Because I've pretty much written everything, there's just like the little finishing touches, like tying up the bows on everything, putting the names on the files, tying up the bows, wrapping everything up, putting the little finishing touches on. It's all done, all the big stuff's ready to go. It's just the little finicky things. And I can do that on the road. I can even do like my podcasts and that on the road, because while we're on the road, I want to do my Mysteries Inside Histories. Maybe try and find that case in Germany that I was working on when I was a kid with my dad, because that's bugging me. So while I'm doing that and doing the auditions, I can make my shows, do my radio shows while my school's being built, you see. Because if I'm lucky enough to be able to get the property that I was looking at, that I've fallen in love with, I really don't think there's going to be a heck of a lot that we need to do there other than interior design and construct some dorms. And they're like prefabs anyway, so they're not going to be, think summer camp. I mean, it's not hard to erect buildings for a summer camp, because they're not anything elaborate. They're the sort of thing where you could probably put one up a week, sort of, once you put the heating and electricity in and the bathroom, and, because they'll have their own each dorm will have their own bathroom, with the little bathroom stalls and all that, so they've got their privacy. So, so it gives me something to do, and then obviously by the time it's all done and ready to go, and we've got the shows edited, and, we're putting them out, by the time we're ready to go, the world's going to know who the first lot of kids are that we're going to fill up in the school, because we'll put it all up on my social medias. If I can have my streaming service, at least the TV side of it, up and running, where we've put at least a couple of my shows in there up, then it's a start. People could see my streaming service like growing as we create more. And we could start with my Eye in the Sky shows, or, my Mystery Inside History shows where I go around doing my thing and investigating Bigfoot, Sam Squanch, and, ghost sightings and all that sort of thing. But also my talent's got the Popeye factor. While everything's been created in the background. And then it gives me the opportunity to, like I said, go and find these indigenous tribes from Europe and that, and see if there's any talent that I can sign up, or things that, I want to be able to buy off them to put in my store. Baskets especially. I need basket weavers. I'm going to need basket weavers. People who can weave baskets, I'm going to need basket weavers. I can't say that enough. I'm going to need a lot of basket weavers. I have a lot of plans for to do with baskets and that. So, yeah, basket weaving, and yeah, art and music, and then I can, for any of the musicians, when we have our festivals and stuff, we can invite them to come and perform in our, outdoor amphitheatre. And with all the land that this first property that I fell in love with has, I'll have to see it with my own eyes, but the land is perfect. I just need permission to build the dorms and the kids, the safe house and boarding house, but the boarding house will be close to the dorms, and that's just going to be, well, like a boarding house. That wouldn't be too much to erect as well. And we could, even if I found like a place that we could just move on a truck, and then, make it what I need. The boarding house is for the kids where it's decided they should stay, like it's maybe not safe for them to go back home, or they don't want to go. I'm not going to force anyone to stay, but I'm not going to force anyone to leave. Or if they're too talented, like we sign them up to our talent agency and there's like an actual future for them with us, then they'd stay in the boarding house. But also the boarding house would be for any parents that were thinking about sending their kids to us, but they wanted to check it out for themselves. They could stay in the boarding house with their kid. So it looks like I'd only need to get permission to build a couple of things, and my amphitheatre, my outdoor theatre. I call it the lily pad, because part of it will be under shelter in the summertime for when we do the kids shows, like Miss Jodine and friends and all that, when we do the outdoor shows for the kids. So they'll be able to sit under the lily pad and not get sunburnt. And then obviously when we do the outdoor theatre, we can take the canopy thing down, and people can come and sit on the grass with their blankets and picnic baskets, and we can turn the canopy thing into an outdoor movie screen. And oh my God, I can't wait. So yeah, so we're going to drive around. I was looking at the map, looking at all the countries that were close by, and it's like, oh my God, they're so close. It's like Switzerland is in the perfect location. We can get in our little tour van, and I'll have to have a good PR person who can contact radio stations and that and say, look, we're going to be driving through. Can we come in and do an interview, because we need to put a call out for schools and people and neighbours and that who know that there's a kid between this age and that age who has an incredible talent, who's maybe, the nerd, the geek, the dork, the freak, the weirdo, or the misunderstood one, the quiet one, the whatever. The kids that are being forced to medicate because they're a bit different to everyone else, or because their art and music is a bit dark. I'll just put them in my underworld department, where they can focus on doing all the stuff for my horror movies and my Halloween festivals. Pay them to be creative in their darkness, because I'm a Scorpio, so that's me. So, yeah, so oh my God, I'm getting excited now. I'm too scared to hope. It's all right there. And then I'd get to sink my teeth into some some European like Gaul, Celtic, Norman, Roman, Viking, Norse mythology, Eastern European mythology, like the Dimmervoy, my horror movie, the Dimmervoy. We'd just the recording locations, because then it gives the kids who are involved in the movie side of it, it gives them the opportunity to see countries that they may never have the opportunity to see otherwise. Kids that we get from South America, North America, Central America, for example, or Polynesia, getting to spend a couple of months touring around Austria or Sweden, or wherever, because we're shooting part of the movie there or something. Night of the Black Sun, we're going to need quite a few countries, because those kids have to leave the foundation to go to the safe house, which is in a different country. It was originally supposed to be where we were in Montana or South Dakota, because remember the original plan was America, and that they were going to pick up their friend in Canada and go over to Thunder Bay, where I was going to have the original safe house in real life. And then we thought, okay, if we go to Russia, then maybe we could start it in Ukraine, and because then it gives people in Ukraine the opportunity to get work helping us make it all, and then the kids have to go to Russia, back to Russia. So in Switzerland, if we're situated in Switzerland, because the thing is, by having our real life shops and buildings and all that in it, it's a great way to promote the foundation for the tourism market as well, because people love going to visit film locations. And I don't necessarily want my films to win Oscars and that, but I want my films to become like cult classics, so that in 30, 40 years' time, people are coming to the movie theatres to watch, when we have our Halloween festivals and play all our old Halloween movies and that, to be cult classics. There's a larger following with a cult classic than anything that, like having a movie that's as successful as Lord of the Rings would be absolutely fantastic, and that has a cult following, but it's one genre, whereas like my movies are many genres, and just in my horror movie section alone, we've written what, about 7 or 8 different kinds of horror movies that are all completely different from each other, that like Alfred Hitchcock, how he's got like that cult following. I want to be like that. My movies aren't going to be played in movie theatres other than in my own foundation, but they're all going to be put on the streaming service. But I want them to be cult classics. I want people to come to me for Halloween and have the shit scared out of them. I want people to watch my movies and it be messing with their heads afterwards. Just like remember when like The Omen first came out, and The Exorcist, and that, people were having heart attacks and fainting in the movie theatre. If I can achieve that sort of thing, I will be over the moon. And when you come to our Halloween festivals, you either keep your kids in the family safe zone, or you're going to be taking full responsibility if you take your kids into the underworld part, that's that's not so family friendly. You take full responsibility, because we decided right from the jump that our Halloween, when we turn our town into like Halloween town, Halloween turn, and we do the whole Halloween thing, it's like no holds barred when it comes to scaring. We'll have the bits for the little kids and the young kids, all of that, so you can keep them over there. But if you come over to this side, then don't hold us responsible if your kids wet themselves. Because Halloween is like my thing. I mean, I'm a Scorpio. So, yeah, we're going to spend the whole month doing like a whole Halloween thing. So, oh my God. So, yeah, and we'll get all the kids involved. So, just looking at all those countries that are situated near Switzerland, all I kept seeing was just us in the tour van going around from radio station to radio station, putting it out there that we're looking for kids, and then being inundated with emails and messages from people saying, you know, this is my kid, look at this video. And then, you know, us all sitting around together and deciding which ones to invite to the auditions, making sure that we have enough to fill bums on seats and that sort of thing. And then, yeah, bringing them in and recording the whole thing, videotaping, recording the whole thing, putting it up on our channel so people can be a part of the development of it all. They'll be able to see what I'm growing from the seed. And then, yeah, bringing them to the schools, and I'll have to work with governments in order to get permission to, you know, bring them to the country and sort out, you know, like their accommodation fees, and because the governments will be paying for them. Because it'll be cheaper than sending them to therapy or juvie. Set up a scheme with the government. You know, we'll do like a quid pro quo. This for that. If you do this for me, I'll do this for you. I'll help them earn money somehow. I'll, you know, help them with, you know, we'll figure it out. So, yeah, I'm excited. And then I'll get to learn, and because then it's great education for the boys because they love history. They love going for walks in the mountains and all that sort of thing. And so there's going to be gajillions of places for them to walk. They'll be able to learn how to like do editing and work with sound and lighting. And although Thomas will be in front of the camera, so he'll be the diva, he'll end up with a cult following, I can tell you that now. But the comedy, the banter between Thomas and I is hilarious because he's sarcastic like me. Yeah, but our comedy would be hilarious. But at the same time, it's going to be a great opportunity for me to look for staff as well, for mentors. I'm also going to be advertising for, you know, adults as well, because I'm looking for voice actors for our cartoons and video games and our radio stories and all of that too. So, but again, I'm not looking for people that are already signed to talent agencies, and I'm looking for, you know, the people that work in the supermarket, or they're a mechanic, or if they think that they can do, because we'll have a list of all the characters and their personalities and that. And Thomas and I were saying, you know, when they come in and they say, I'm auditioning to do the voice of Draco TC, who's one of my rappers, he works with Ruby for the Ministry of Souls, whereas she works for the Historical Grief Department. He works for the Art and Entertainment Department. He was a rapper turned movie star, kind of based on Ice Cube, who is keeping an eye out in the rap and movie industry for the Illuminati. You know, he's investigating the Illuminati in the music and movie industry on behalf of the Ministry of Souls. But he is one of my characters, and I know what his voice sounds like in my head, and Thomas and I have said that we'll know as soon as these people walk in, as soon as they put on the voices of like Vasa or any of them, we're going to know, yep, definitely. Yep, that's definitely Miss Jodine. Yep, that's definitely, you know, Aurelius Fox. And yep, that's definitely Ruby Corazon. Yep, that's definitely Amber Rose, like that sort of thing. So, and then we'll call them back for auditions and then whittle it down and then, you know, offer them the contracts. And I just can't wait to see people that work in, like, say, a Chinese restaurant coming in and doing like a flawless grandmother tree, or a flawless Goblin King, or, you know, I can't wait. I'm so excited because the talent is there. It's out there and they're unassuming. And these are people that nobody would even know had these incredible talents. There could be a mechanic out there or a dental assistant somewhere out there in Europe, somewhere out in the world, who doesn't realise that they're about to put the famous name to a character in an iconic video game. Or that they're about to become the hero of children all over the world in the superhero toy league. Or Miss Jodine. Kids are going to love Miss Jodine and Friends. She's going to be like, what's her name, Miss Rachel and all that. But she doesn't talk down to the kids. She doesn't baby them. I hate that. Kids shows where they talk down to the kids, put on silly voices and talk real slow. I can't stand that. It dumbs kids down. Kids are a lot smarter than people give them credit for. And that whole wah wah woo woo goo goo gaga voice that it drives me up the wall. Like, talk to them like they're humans. Kids are a lot smarter than you think. It slows their development down. Trust me, I've studied it. Because I did a degree in early childhood development, so I know how kids' brains develop. That's why my kids are so bloody smart, because I never ever talk down to them. They never ever watched like the Teletubbies. They never ever watched what was it called, In the Night Garden and that. They watched shows where they spoke normal. And my kids are super smart, so my kids' shows for like the little uns and the toddlers and the babas and stuff are going to be incredible, where we're going to be introducing them to like classical music and teaching them about, art and history and that and the occult, but in fun ways. So whoever plays Miss Jodine, she's going to end up being iconic. Like High Five and the Wiggles and all of that, but again, not where we're talking down to kids with bright colours and jumpy movements and, are you having a good time, kids? Ugh. Talking to you like you're slow and silly. I can't stand that. So yeah, whoever Miss Jodine is, she's going to become iconic, because the thing is as well, Miss Jodine and Friends are going to do bus tours where the parents will be able to come, and they'll go and they'll tour and put on performances, and there's no singing. That I'm not thinking of doing any singing with Miss Jodine. She's not really that. She's more teaching kids how to cook, teaching them how to, like, the importance of picking up rubbish and keeping the forest clean and learning about forest fires and, stranger danger and, what to do if you're being bullied and that, but bringing, like, the occult and mythology and all of that into it as well. With her little hand puppet friends and Granny Swindle, who's her nemesis, who keeps trying to steal her cookbook, her magic cookbook. It's a great way to promote my supernatural foods. And then she works alongside the puppets, the little hand puppets, and the anthropomorphic actors as well. So, for example, Aurelius Fox, the one that comes in to teach the kids about, fire safety and all that sort of thing, because he's the fire marshal, he will be a man actor in a fox costume. Probably, like, we want him to be like, have a man's body but with fur. So, yeah. And then we've got like the hedgehogs. Mr. Hedgehog, he's the gardener. And when we have our vegetable garden and that at the foundation, we're going to have Mr. Hedgehog's fruit and veg stall. The shack where you can buy all the fresh fruit and veg from Mr. Hedgehog. And yeah, Miss Mouse's tea house, and they'll all be characters on the show. So some will be actors and some will be puppets. So I want to find kids that not only want to work in the costume and design department, sewing like that boy, teaching them lots of different skills and trades through sewing, but who want to maybe get into the, the puppet mastery industry, like Jim Henson's puppets and all that. So I've got like 1,000,001 classes for these kids to take, depending on what it is they think they want to learn. And we're going to go out on our tour bus and we're going to go looking for these kids and advertise for the talent. I'm going to need an incredible PR manager. I'm going to need a personal assistant, because I'm not going to go around saying, "Hi, can you let me on your show?" How embarrassing. Oh, look, I'm dreading that sort of thing. That's just not me. I'm the engine. Everyone else is the cogs. Yeah, I'm the steering wheel. So yeah. Oh my God, I'm getting excited. I'm getting too. It's like, dare I dream? Dare I dream? But what an adventure my boys and I are in for, eh? They're going to get to see that we've been kept in a bottle for so long, trapped, and I'm growing too big for this island. I need to spread my wings and fly. Put my boys on my back and, yeah, off we go. Show them the world. They'll be able to, oh my God, the countries I'll be able to take them to. What a history lesson. It's going to be something for them to remember. I know Gabriel's like, oh, I dread, I'm not really looking forward to taking the long trips and being in a car for hours and that. And I said, so we'll do it in a camper van then. And then you can sleep and, we'll pull over, and it doesn't have to be where we're in a car for 9 hours. We'll do it in a camper van, and we'll just go from hotel to hotel. It's just the sort of thing that, even though he's like, why can't we fly? I hate flying, and you don't get to see everything from up in the air. We can take the train, taking that Swiss train all around Europe, and, like the Siberian Trans Railway, and like, oh my God, it's like, it's the sort of thing that I know, even though they'd be like, he'd be like, oh God, it's going to take us 6 hours to get there. When he's in his 20s and 30s, he'll go, oh my God, I can't believe I saw 20 European countries in 1 year. Like, how cool is that? While we were waiting for the school to be built, we went to France and Germany and blah, 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 and I got to see this and that, and then he gets to try all the different food. And I said to him, that's what you need to think about. Focus on the food. Focus on the interesting little markets we might find, where you'll find like random, really interesting toys, and the history, and all the fun movies that we'll be able to watch when we have time off and decide to go to like a little indie theatre and all of that. And then he won't. Then I think he won't mind. He'll be learning as he goes. He'll be getting involved in all the things he wants to do. He's never going to have to worry about money. We'll go to all like the LARPing role-playing festivals when they're around, when they have like their Comic-Cons and their toy festivals, and we'll be able to go to all of that sort of stuff. There's so many things we can do to keep busy when we're not recording. And then if they don't want to come out when I'm doing like a paranormal place or a supernatural place or a haunted place or whatever, they can just stay in the hotel. So, what an adventure. It's like, yep, come on, God, let's do it. Let's do this. Let's do it. I'm so excited. I'm going to go and have my coffee now. I shall speak to you later. Ka kite anō.